there for you. ZakPak, only on YouTube. ZakPak, what will he do next? ZakPak, let's find out, 'cause it's on with the show.
Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. So wow, this video is going to be a lot different than basically any other video I've made on the channel because I'm going to be talking about a TV show. Doctor Who. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm a Whovian. In fact, I'd say that I've probably watched Doctor Who, at least in America, as an American, more than anyone else. So to give you a background of my experience with Doctor Who, I'm talking as a young person. Because when I was young, I watched Doctor Who for the first time back in 2006. It was when David Tennant had Rose Tyler as a companion. That's when I first watched it. My first episode was School Reunion, which had Sarah Jane Smith coming back. So I didn't understand it at the time, but, as I got into Doctor Who, I started to understand. And, when I was younger, I was weird for liking Doctor Who. But now it's a common thing. I got bullied in middle school for loving Doctor Who because, oh, you're weird, you like that weird alien British show, and now it's popular in America. Like, come on. How come I was weird for it 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, but now it's like a common thing that everyone, who's kind of a nerd likes Doctor Who. But anyways, yes, I've been watching since Tennant. I cried during his regeneration. I watched Smith to an extent. I liked Smith's first season. Then, once the story started to get a little too complex for my liking, I started to drift off. Because that's when Doctor Who started to gain popularity, when Matt Smith was the Doctor. It's kind of the very tail end of David Tennant, and then into Matt Smith. But yeah, I liked Matt Smith's first season, but then the story got a little too complex for my liking. So, I honestly, I don't even remember half of, the, later seasons of Doctor Who from Matt Smith. So, yeah, there's that. But I think the more I look back, I'm starting to like Matt Smith a little bit more. David Tennant is my all-time favorite. I think Chris Eccleston's probably my second, who was before David Tennant. But he only had one season. So yeah, Matt Smith went along. Peter Capaldi came in. I liked him. But again, with the story, I liked him personally, personality-wise, more than Matt Smith, but not as much as David Tennant or Chris Eccleston. So he's kind of in the middle, but I didn't like the story, personally. I liked Clara I kind of liked Clara with Matt Smith, but towards the end, I liked Clara with Matt Smith. But then, when Matt Smith regenerated into Peter Capaldi, I started to hate Clara's character. So that made me just not enjoy Capaldi, because Clara was the most annoying character. I loved her at first, but then I started to not like her character that much. I don't know really what happened. I think there was a moment where she, threatened to burn the TARDIS key. She just turned into a complete ass. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I hated her character at the end. But I really liked Peter Capaldi's last season with Bill. I think that's her name. She was really cool. As a companion, I don't know. I think the show turned really political. And, nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. It just feels like it has some sort of political agenda behind it. Which kind of sucks, because I hate when shows do that. It's a TV show. I just want to enjoy it. If you look back on, Doctor Who, the 10th and 11th Doctors, it just wasn't very political. But then it felt like politics was shoved in it. And that kind of, it didn't hinder my experience at all, but it just didn't feel like Doctor Who much. So now we're in the 13th Doctor, who is our first female, Jodie Whittaker. My first impressions of her before the show even started, I was skeptical because of the first trailer we saw. It just looked a lot like Torchwood. It just didn't seem like Doctor Who. Not because the Doctor was female or anything, but it just didn't seem like Doctor Who. And then the first few episodes came out, and holy cow, I was wrong. So, to put it frankly, I'm actually really liking this season so far of Doctor Who. I'm really I don't watch TV much, but I have YouTube TV on my phone, so I do record the couple shows that I do watch. And I started watching this new season of Doctor Who, and I'm actually really liking it. So I'm going to say right off the bat, there's going to be spoilers. I can't talk about this season without bringing up spoilers. It's just impossible. Especially for, like, the points I'm trying to make refer to different spoilers that happen. So, fair warning, there's tons of spoilers. So, 3 episodes have been released as of my recording of this video, and probably as of the upload of this video. So let's start with episode 1, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. I think that was the title. I may be wrong, but whatever. That episode introduces us to the Doctor, and I thought it was a little bit slow at first. Granted, it was a long episode because it was the first episode, but once it got to the middle, once the Doctor started to regain a bit of her spunk, I think it became really good. You know, you saw the Doctor's energy coming out of Jodie Whittaker, and honestly, she nails it. You know, like, I couldn't think of a better character, or better actress to nail the Doctor's role. Maybe Emma Thompson, but other than that, I think that Jodie Whittaker nails the Doctor role. In all 3 of the episodes that are out so far. And I'm very happy that she nailed it, because I know that because she's a female, and because she's a new Doctor, she's going to have a lot of eyes on her. A lot of people like, is she going to be good? And I'm thankful, I'm happy to report that she is good, that, you know, everything is good. And she has a great supporting cast. Holy cow. Usually we're used to 1 or 2 companions, but she has 3. 4 kind of in the first episode, which I'll touch on in a little bit. But each of the 4 characters that were introduced to in the first episode were amazing. I don't know why I'm blanking on their names. I mean, the younger man's name is Ryan, and the younger woman's name is Jazz. I think the older woman's name is Gracie, I think. I'll put a correction on the screen if I'm wrong. And I don't remember the older guy's name. I don't remember he's a bus driver. I don't remember his name. But all 4 of them are so different that it works. They blend beautifully, and their teamwork and cooperation really works well. So the first episode, Gracie, I'm going to presume that's her name, is the grandmother of Ryan. Ryan has a physical disability. I forget what it's called, but I know what the disease is. It's a weakening of the joints. So, certain activities like riding a bicycle and climbing a ladder are difficult because their joints, like, it's a weak connection. I don't know how to explain it properly because I don't have the disease, but it's one of those things where it's like he had an ailment, but everyone's there to support him. So the guy that I don't remember the name of, and Gracie, I'm still going to assume that's her name, are an interracial couple, and they are obviously the grandparent, well, the guy's the grandparent, step-grandparent of Ryan. Ryan's not very accepting of it. I don't really know why. I don't know why. I'm not going to go into it. And then Jazz is just a friend of Ryan. And they all come together in this episode. And like I said, it's very slow in the beginning because the Doctor, like in every single regeneration process, doesn't know who she is. All that stuff. But the threat is there. There's it was a couple weeks ago when I watched the episode, so I'm trying to really remember. But there's a threat, there's like 2 different things that are going on at once, which is a little bit confusing for new reviewers, but I thought it was a good introduction to the series. And unfortunately, Gracie dies at the end of the episode. So yes, she was honestly probably my favorite. At the end of episode 1 at least. She was my favorite, and I was really sad when she died, because I was like, I really wanted to see her throughout the series. But with her legacy, you know, and how she's mentioned, I have a feeling she will reappear. I have a feeling it would kind of be like a whole Rose Tyler situation where, like, oh, maybe Ryan will want to go back in time and, you know, see something along those lines. I think it's very possible, but it is unfortunate that she was only limited to the first episode. I think the second episode is my favorite of the 3. The second episode is where so at the end of the first episode, the Doctor and the 3 surviving companions get lost into space. So in this new episode, it picks up where they left off, and they get taken to a planet, and it's a challenge, it's a big challenge, and basically there's 2 competitors, and they have to race to the finish line, basically, to get home, to this ghost monument, it's called. And the ghost monument happens to be the TARDIS. So obviously the Doctor's looking for the TARDIS. So naturally the Doctor goes along with them to look for this ghost monument and actually gets the two competitors to work together. And there are all these robots, and I actually really liked the creatures. They were like these like snaky paper like creatures, but there were also these robot soldier like creatures. So there's a lot in this episode to like. If you're a classic Doctor Who fan, there's a lot of running. There's a lot of, dark creatures and robots and all that kind of stuff. So it really felt like Doctor Who, and that's what I love. I absolutely loved that aspect. Because there are kind of two aspects of Doctor Who. The alien aspect and the time travel aspect. And that's where we get into the next episode. The next episode, I think, might be the most controversial, for obvious reasons. I believe it's just called Rosa. And it's obviously based on Rosa Parks and the whole civil rights movement. If you don't know U.S. history, basically, obviously we all know that the U.S. had slavery up until the Civil War. Then it was abolished, but there's still segregation until the 1960s. So in the 1960s, Martin Luther King, we all know this spiel. So one of the biggest stories is that Rosa Parks sat on a bus and would not get up and got arrested, and that started a whole spew of protests back in the 1950s. And that's the premise of this episode, that the TARDIS takes them, to the wrong place, because the Doctor, sometimes the Doctor can't follow the TARDIS, it happens, but they land in 1950s America. And I like their interpretation of 1950s America, which I'll get into a little bit. But this is all during their whole Rosa Parks movement thing, the whole bus thing. Like I said, we all know how it goes. What I like about this episode is that there is someone trying to change how the past goes, because they felt like they should rewrite it, to have the white man be in power. And I thought this was an interesting take. Very political, which I know not a lot of people would like, and I was very, apprehensive about it. Not because of the message it's trying to convey, just because of the fact that it was political, right? I just don't think Doctor Who is meant to be a political show. If you go back and watch the original Doctor Who, or by the original Doctor Who's, I mean the 9th, the 10th, even the 11th Doctor, it was not political. So I think the fact that they get political, for me, is a little bit concerning. Like I said, simply because I don't want politics in Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who. It doesn't need it. But nevertheless, I did think they executed this episode beautifully. They really captured the essence of what the 1950s, even the 1960s, must have been like, for minority groups, at that time. And it's absolutely crazy to see what people have to go through and see it from a different perspective. And I get it, Doctor Who is a TV show. But we have to remember that, Doctor Who always takes historical, like, obviously, they wouldn't they wouldn't reenact history if it wasn't going to be accurate. If they reenacted the whole Rosa Parks situation in a way that wasn't historically accurate, you know how much backlash that would get. So they had to be really careful how they did it. They had to make sure that it was as accurate as possible, and they made it so that they were the people who helped Rosa Parks, with this whole achievement of sitting on the bus, getting arrested, but starting this whole movement and creating a legacy. And I think it's beautiful. As much as I hate that it gets political, the episode itself is beautiful. It has a bunch of heart, but it also shows how dark the past is. Because, most people who are alive nowadays, I would say are from the 1930s onward. So we don't have experience from before that point, that's alive anymore. Maybe a few exceptions, but nevertheless, I feel like, there's so much that now that it's all history, we don't know it. And, we can't relate to it. So seeing this is shocking, yes, it's a Doctor Who episode, but obviously, to save it from being a riot, there has to be some historical accuracy to it. And I think they really nailed it with this episode. And I think all three episodes, but particularly the first and the third episode, you see the uniqueness of each character come into play, right? Like in the third episode, because obviously in the third episode, that was a Rosa Parks episode, and Ryan is a black male. and Jazz is a Pakistani female. I mean, obviously they're both from England, but that's their heritage, Ryan's family's probably from Africa, and Jazz is from Pakistan. So there's a lot more, and the fact that we see the racism in America, a white man in the restaurant scene calls Jazz a Mexican, not knowing that she's actually from Pakistan. And correct me if I'm wrong, was Pakistan a country in the 19... Because I feel like, oh no, World War II was over. Yeah, Pakistan probably was a country at that point. Because I think Pakistan was like a post-World War II country. If I'm not mistaken, I know I'm going to get killed in the comments if I got that wrong. So, constructive criticism, please. But, nevertheless, the fact that he, this man said that, it really shows the, I don't want to say, ignorance of people back in that time. And as a white man, it was actually kind of uncomfortable to watch. Not uncomfortable in a bad way. Uncomfortable as kind of like an enlightening way. You see things from one side as a person of a certain background. And for me, I have a family full of immigrants. My father's from England. Like my grandparents, I think their parents came from Italy and Ireland. So none of my family was around when that slavery period was around. So it was like, for like probably my family moving over here, it was like a whole big culture shock, and how weird and different everything is over here. So that's what I like, is that with Doctor Who you learn a lot too. And Doctor Who's not only like, you can also say somewhat of an educational show. I've learned a lot from Doctor Who, and I think it's one of those shows that you should watch. I don't really think it should go too political. And this is gonna kind of contradict what I say, but I think it should definitely say historical. They have some historical episodes throughout all of Doctor Who. I think it should stay like that. And that is kind of hard to stay on the political side of things, but I think Doctor Who this season is perfectly fine. People are commenting on the whole political side of things, yada yada yada, but at the end of the day, Doctor Who's just trying to convey a message, and thankfully, it's not trying to develop its own convoluted story. It is just sticking to what Doctor Who does best. Each episode is different, but they all kind of connect in a certain way. And I like that. So, overall, I think this new Doctor is brilliant, and I am very happy that Jodie Whittaker is taking this role seriously, and she's doing a great job, as well as all the supporting cast, all the characters that we've seen in all 3 episodes. Great job. I'm loving the season so far. And the next episode is called Arachnids in London. And I happen to love spiders in movies because, Harry Potter. And I love London, so I'm very excited for that episode. So if you want to see more Doctor Who content, let me know in the comments. I would love to do more videos talking about each episode after it airs. Because, obviously the first 3 episodes are out. But as each one comes out, I can do a video talking about it, and I think it'd be pretty cool. But let me know if you guys want to see that. It's only if you guys want to see that. That's how this channel works. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video.